Hello everyone, welcome to Anime and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the preview of the next chapter of One Piece, being chapter 1059. We're going to talk about the possible events that could happen in this next chapter and how that would end up tying into the larger story of One Piece. So my friends, in the previous chapter, a new arc is finally underway, and the Straw Hats are now collecting information in order to find the last road poneglyph so that they can finally find the One Piece treasure. Now, we don't know exactly which island they're going to, but this new island may just be a quick stopover before the beginning of one of the final arcs of One Piece. So the new island that the Straw Hats will find might just be a place that we'll just see for a brief number of chapters while they set the stage for what is yet to come. But before we go much further, if you're new to the channel or even if you've been with us for a bunch of videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like or even consider subscribing and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content, and if you'd like to help us out in a bigger way, share this or your favorite video with a friend. But otherwise, let's get back into it. So if the next island that the Straw Hats land on ends up being just a quick stop kind of planning island, we have to know that the Straw Hats are going to be going off to the island of Elbaf. Now, as we've said in previous videos, the island of Elbaf has to be a major possibility for the Straw Hats to go. Because first of all, this island is really quite mysterious, and very few people have been able to see this island. I mean, if you think about it, it's practically like Wano, but instead Elbaf has no borders, and the citizens of Elbaf themselves put fear into the world, even the Marines in the world government. The giants that live in Elbaf are known worldwide as extremely strong warriors, and for this reason, no one has ever dared to go to Elbaf. I mean, even Yonko themselves avoid going into conflict with these giants, because not only are they powerful, but very many in number, and could be capable of causing great destruction. The giants only follow the strongest of warriors, and they also don't get into any unnecessary conflicts. They just stay in Elbaf protecting their island, and it's only be a very few number of giants that decide to venture out into the world in search of new life experiences and adventure. And also, because there's so much mystery about this island that's really unknown worldwide, I mean, everybody knows it, but they know nothing about it, there is a really good possibility that the Straw Hats go there, because Elbaf may be in possession of something very important to the story of One Piece. For a long time, this island has been mentioned by several characters throughout the time, and even going back to Gol D. Roger, who mentioned Elbaf to Shanks. And as we know, Luffy is following in Roger's footsteps, so he can too find the One Piece. And there's even some evidence that Roger had already gone to Elbaf and had even made friends with the giants of this place. See, in chapter 866 of One Piece, we saw that the giants of Elbaf are celebrating the birth of Prince Loki, something that had happened just a few days before. During the celebration, they give thanks for Loki's birth and also thank some very specific people, starting with Rold, an unknown character. Soon after that, they thanked Gold, which of course could possibly be making reference to Roger's name, which is Gol D. However, the surname that had gone with it, the Marines had changed because they wanted to hide the D in his name. So this Gold really could be Roger, because Oda doesn't put unnecessary information. And as Oda himself has already said in SBS, he usually has a few scenes to put in a chapter, so he chooses only the scenes that will add the most important information to the work at hand. So this scene in Elbaf could be a really important information piece, showing us that Roger had already been to Elbaf and that he would have been great friends with the giants, possibly knowing even Prince Loki, who on the day of the celebration was just a little baby. And just like we said before, if Roger went to Elbaf, that means that Luffy really is probably going to be going there as well. And not only that, we've had other connections to Elbaf, let's say through our story with Dory and Bragi, and of course Usopp really is somebody who a lot of people in the community have talked about, being that Elbaf would really be his arc. But moving on from Elbaf, we also want to talk about that in this last chapter, we had the official reveal of how the Cross Guild came to be, and how Crocodile and Mihawk decide to let Buggy be the public face, because this would be much more of an advantageous kind of role for these two powerful pirates who could work in the shadows, because Buggy would draw the attention with his Yonko fame, and meanwhile, Crocodile and Mihawk could act in the shadows without anyone noticing. And also, Buggy, even though he's the figure in the face head, he really has no decision. It's ultimately going to be Crocodile and Mihawk who truly command the Cross Guild and are the true founders of this organization. We have not yet been able to figure out the purpose of the Cross Guild, aside from maybe just putting the bounties on the Marines and making the hunters the hunted. But because they're being pursued by the Marines, it means that really any alliance of pirates is gonna give you more strength. And throughout this chapter, it's also been a couple little possible hints that this in fact is their goal, to turn things around descend on the Marines and go after them. Because after losing their Warlord of the Sea rank and having their bounties reinstated, Crocodile calls Mihawk asking him to join in. After all, Mihawk, it's revealed, was once known as a marine hunter in the past, meaning that Crocodile and Mihawk would once again become sailor hunters or marine hunters together, because Crocodile would be really tired of trying to avoid being captured and just probably feels it's a much better idea to hunt them. From there, we could easily speculate that Crocodile and Mihawk were the ones that decided which bounty went with which marine, so that then the hunt for the Marines would go through and they would end up hunting each other for their bounties, making the fight between these two powers quite equal if you think about it. And as much as one would think about a plan conceived by Crocodile, the organization really isn't looking to start a huge conflict, just not right now. Really, what they're trying to do is start small and take out smaller and weaker Marines to slowly weaken the organization overall. Because if eventually they did want to take the Marine organization head on, they would be able to have thinned their ranks. But even if that even happened, we still have to understand that the admirals are still going to be ready to battle and defend the Marines. And even though Crocodile and Mihawk are very powerful, I don't want to take that away from them, I really don't think they're going to be able to stand up against all three admirals and Akainu. I mean, it really just kind of makes me wonder, what is their long-term goal and how do they think they're going to go ahead and take the Marines out? So for now, it looks like the Cross Guild is going to be focused on recruiting new pirates, and maybe even Crocodile is going to recall some of his former minions that can further strengthen the ranks, where the Cross Guild may become one of the four most dangerous kind of, pillars in the world of One Piece. So it's only going to be in these next chapters where we're going to find out what Crocodile and Mihawk's next move is going to be. But either way, there's still a good possibility they're going to be focused on taking out Marines and starting to destabilize that whole organization. And finally, in the previous chapter, it was confirmed that Sabo is indeed alive. And just as we had guessed, he managed to confront and at least slow down Admirals Ryukugyu and Fujitora, while the rest of his fellows escaped. Now, one could ask, how exactly could Sabo pull this off? I mean, he was up against two very formidable admirals. But the reason for this is most likely caused the fact that they were in Marijois, so this is going to limit what the admirals are able to do, and they may not even be able to use a fraction of their power, whereas Sabo could just use any amount of power that he wanted. I mean, they didn't want to ever risk injuring any world nobles who might be nearby. So because the admirals would be distracted, this would give Sabo the opportunity to look for an opening where he could then dash away and finally escape the admirals and make it back with his allies. But while Sabo is reaching out to his secret base and where the revolutionaries are, this might not be so much of a secret anymore. After all, we did see that the world government managed to intercept Sabo's call, and they might now know the location of the revolutionaries' base, and most importantly, where Dragon is. And also add on the fact that if the world government managed to intercept Sabo's call, that could mean that he still is either in or at least very close to where Marijois is, and that could have been the way that his call was intercepted. It's also very likely that Sabo is not alone. After the mysterious death of King Cobra, in which the world government is blaming Sabo for an act that he most likely did not commit, Princess Vivi disappeared during Sabo's confrontation against the admirals, which means that Vivi may be with Sabo, because together they're trying to get revenge on those responsible for taking Cobra's life. Because Vivi spent most of the events in Marijois with her father, and she may have even seen who was responsible. And if Vivi witnessed what happened, it wouldn't be a stretch to think that the world government or one of their agents is involved. Because in some chapters dealing with the meeting at Marijois, we saw the scene where Imsam was deciding which light that was going to be erased, and Vivi's poster was in his hand. So Vivi's father Cobra may have given his life in order to save her, and then Sabo took her to keep her safe, while the world government put the blame for those events on the revolutionaries, and especially Sabo. So currently, the Revolutionary Army finds themselves in a very complicated situation. Now, because of the rescue of Kuma, his location is bound to be discovered because of this call, because of everything linking it back to the revolutionaries' base. In this next chapter, we're probably going to see Sabo telling his comrades some really important information that the world government will be listening for very carefully, and this could end up compromising the revolutionaries. In the previous chapter, we also got the heartbreaking news that although rescued, Kuma is just not the same person. In fact, he's acting more as if he's just a servant, and maybe there's no longer any humanity left in him. Something that frustrates Dragon considerably, as he's asking Kuma for details about what happened. But there seems to be some kind of trouble with Kuma being able to use his vocabulary, because his mind may have been actually altered in the process that took him into something like a pacifista. Now, it may be that in the future, Kuma could get fixed or may find some way to heal, but in his current state, he may just be in kind of a bad way. After all, it was the mysterious Vegapunk, this scientist in the shadows that we have heard so much about, yet still haven't seen in the piece, who was able to change his personality completely after the time skip, really basically turning Kuma into a machine that was made to obey the world nobles. So at this point, Kuma may not add much more value other than kind of morale to the revolutionaries. But again, we still don't know what he may have in his memory banks and just how he's gonna get it out to share it with the rest of the revolutionaries. We also saw that Dragon was extremely angry with even the possibility that Sabo took a life during the revelry in Marijois, and he didn't want to believe that Sabo could have done what they say he did to King Cobra, because he felt that Cobra was one of the only truly worthy and noble kings left in the world of One Piece. Dragon considers Cobra's loss as irreparable. I mean, even if Nefertari Cobra had belonged to the 20 Kingdoms, he was still a very trustworthy and worthy person. Dragon could even have had a secret alliance with Cobra and Alabasta, but now that he's lost his life, it may be that this alliance has ended. So if Sabo truly is to blame for taking King Nefertari's life, Dragon is no longer going to accept him as the revolutionaries, no matter the reason of why he may have taken his life. But now that the revolutionaries are all back together, with just Sabo left to join them, Dragon may possibly begin his plan of attack against the world government, because now the revolutionaries are motivated to overturn this just injustice because they're trying to blame Sabo for something that they in fact did. So a new era is going to begin in the world of One Piece, where pirates, revolutionaries, and marines are preparing to come together in a great, potentially final conflict that is going to happen really soon. Now, we have some of the most powerful pirates that we've seen in our story moving in, and we have marines uniting together and trying to figure out how they stand with the world government, as well as the revolutionaries gathering in a different place where they're going to bring their battle to the world government. And among all of this action, Luffy, our wonderful rubber captain Straw Hat Luffy, is close to his ultimate goal, which means that there is just no way he's not going to get involved and have a side, because think about all the people that he knows that are going to be directly involved in these conflicts. So he, along with the rest of the Straw Hats, may have to choose a side to fight with in this great battle for world control. And also, with all that said, we'd love to know what you think about it. As we're moving forward, what do you think the next island's gonna be? And how do you think Elbaf might fit into our overall story? Secondly, what do you think the actual deal is going on with Sabo? Do you think he actually killed King Cobra? Or what kind of twist do you think Oda-sensei might throw at us? And finally, how do you think the Cross-Guild outfit is gonna work, and how do you think they're looking to take out the Marines? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video today, I want to thank you all so much for watching all the way up to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.